When to say when and how to say no. That's what I've been struggling with this week. This is the Because He Remembers Me podcast, and this is entry number 27, and I'm happy to be here today. This week in my professional life, I mentioned previously in a different podcast I took too much on, and it was so overwhelming. And something that I was thinking about during this process was how difficult it is to explain to somebody some of the life choices I've made between homeschooling my kids or choosing, even simpler, choosing to be a stay-at-home mom instead of pursuing my career full-time. And that has caused some problems in the past, or at least some confusion, where here I am, I'm somebody who has made these difficult choices, but how do I explain that to somebody who doesn't have the same values that I do? I think that sometimes people have tried to get me to promote a business, or I've had people try to interview me for their website for small business women, women who own small businesses in our small town, or things like that. And all very well-meaning, all trying to promote my business in a way that is more than I can sustain while choosing my lifestyle. So what do? This week I listened to the All In podcast, and it's a great podcast. They shared this quote, and it says, "If we're lucky, life is going to use us up." That's kind of the point, that we should spend ourselves on something larger than self. Motherhood is not the only thing that you could spend yourself on, but it's a pretty good thing to spend yourself on. That hit me right to the core, that I knew that using my time as a mother is not a waste, like some individuals have led me to believe, or caused me to feel that they believe that in the past. It reminded me of the C.S. Lewis quote that says, "Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less." And I feel like motherhood could be put in that. Motherhood should not be thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. Or discipleship. Discipleship is not thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. So from this experience, I realized that whether I choose to work full time or whether I choose to homeschool my kids or be a stay-at-home mom, that there is value in spending your life on something bigger, whether that's for your kids, for a cause, for in the service of other people. But also, it gave me the courage that I needed to establish a boundary that I needed in my home for the things that are priorities in my life, and to not be resentful of that boundary that I set to limit that professional interaction so that I can be where I choose to be. And I love that anybody, whether they choose to be at home, whether they choose to work full time, can use that principle of being in the service of other people. Shortly after I had these thoughts and this realization, I had a very profound spiritual experience while I was up very early in the morning trying to finish this formal gown that was on a deadline. And I realized that even though I choose to limit those professional interactions, that I could be a light, and that Heavenly Father prompted me to do something for this client that I wouldn't normally do, and to interact with them in a specific way. And I knew that the Lord was telling me that He could use me in both capacities, but it's okay. It's okay to set a limit. So this week, I felt the Lord's hand in my life through timely promptings, through timely things that somebody had said, through timely quotes that I had heard, that is a form of revelation, and that's how I felt his hand in my life this week. I want to remember that because I know that he remembers me. I hope that you see his hand in your life this week. I know that as you seek him diligently, you will find him. So until next time, happy seeking.